And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and my co-host to my left, Rob Ambrose. And together with our audience, we created a space where people from all political affiliations can have a civil conversation to find solutions to the problems that we face together. Here are the topics of the day. Quebec is sending a message to Muslims: no more public prayers. Canadian taxpayers are about to spend $71 billion on federal employees' pay, bonuses, and benefits. Canada experienced the largest decline in export in the history of the nation in this past quarter. And we have a lot more. So get your comments ready because the show starts now. What's on, man?
What's happening, brother? How's the day going? Yeah, I like the more condensed intro way.
Yeah, I'm always trying to make it better and better and better and better.
Do you have the ability to be like, oh, okay, it's good, and I don't need to do anything else? You don't want to go too. You don't want to go too far. Yeah, you don't want to go too far.
I'll do it until it feels natural.
Yeah.
You know, when you do something and you don't have to think about it anymore, that's normally a good indication that you're on the right track.
Got it dialed in. Yes, Pam says, good morning. Good morning to you. Good luck with your new schedule. Yes, today is the last day shift for the show. Starting this Sunday, we're going to start doing our...
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. We're going to do the night shift. We're going to go 8 to 10 Eastern is the new channel or the new time. Pam, are you not going to be there? You're not going to come over with us? Because that sounds like a goodbye. I don't know if I'm down with that.
Yeah, I'm not down with that either.
To be honest,
I am not down with that either.
Me and Nico were saying we really need to keep this core audience group over there so that you guys can teach all the newbies how to behave on the show.
Or what the show's about, instead of saying behaving, just to say what the show is all about, because there's nothing like this out there, and nothing like having a bunch of awesome listeners showing the ropes to the noobs.
Well, one of the things we said from the beginning is, we don't want to just make a show. We want to create a community. And I think so far, I think we've done a good job with that. Not just us, but you guys, Pat ourselves on the back. Oh, my arm getting old.
It's always a good thing to like yourself. Eh?
Yes, of course. All right. Happy Friday to you, Sylvie. How's it going? I assume you'll probably like that first topic, Sylvie. Straight up your alley. Straight up all of our
What's going on, Dan? Detail Tots.
Yeah. So he's a regular now. Hey, I saw your Nico showed me your Instagram page yesterday. It's really good work, man.
Yeah, he is. He's an artist. He ain't.
I
was telling you yesterday, he's not the type of guy you just give him a picture and you're like, I want this, because he ain't gonna do it.
No, I like just like maybe give a few guides and say
he's an artist.
Do your thing.
He's an artist.
Yeah. I'm a canvas.
He paints. He sculpts. He does a bunch of stuff. Tattooing is just another outlet for his mastery.
Yeah, because if you're a painter today, unless you're like, one of the very few like famous artists, probably tattooing is the best way to monetize your talent.
100%. So shall we get into it in the fastest time possible? 4 minutes is probably our fastest time ever. We took it down from 20 minutes to 4.
Yeah. That will be that would be super fast. But I guess well,
you're used to that though, right?
No, yeah, exactly. 4 minutes, that'd be a marathon for me.
4 minutes.
Yeah, my girlfriend.
4 minutes.
My girlfriend will be thrilled.
So
I guess that's why.
Here is something that's gonna make. Wow, this is a first in Canada. I don't think I have not seen something like that anywhere else. It's something that Legault, the premier of Quebec, had mentioned December last year. And yesterday they came out and they said point blank, Quebec plans to table bill banning prayers in public.
Good.
And you can take this a lot of different ways, but let's just go through the article first, and then we'll approach it. But what's very, very interesting is that the premier says that the premier of Quebec has given me the mandate. So that is Jean-François Roberge. This is the guy we're seeing here. He's the guy, the Quebec secularism minister, just so you know. So we got
That's great.
the mandate. Well, it depends how you see it, but let's just see the articles before we actually give our opinions. But the premier of Quebec has given him the mandate to strengthen secularism, so I'm determined to fulfill this mandate. And it's saying that this fall we will therefore introduce a bill to strengthen secularism in Quebec, and particularly by banning street prayers. Now, this is the part that blew my mind, because this is a quote by Legault, the premier of Quebec. Seeing people praying in the street, public parks, is not something we want in Quebec, Legault said in December, saying he wanted to send a very clear message to Islamists.
I love that. I love the bluntness.
He is goddamn like loaded.
Like zero F's given.
But he's continuing here though. He's saying we want to so when we want to pray, we go to a church, we go to a mosque, but not in public places. And yes, we will look at the means where we can act legally or otherwise. So you got
this is a real
mirror that is and this is funny because I'm like 14,000 time on next. I reshared some of those content and I got hundreds of thousands of views on my Instagram. So 14,000, fucking
and most of the shares were people probably like supporting this ban on.
Right? Yeah. But it's funny because they're referring, is it this article or another one? Because I saw a bunch of them. But it's funny because in one of the articles they were, remember the girl we had on the show? To talk about the protest. Exactly she's not a Christian or anything. She's just denouncing what's going on. She was mentioned a bunch of time.
Oh, really?
And of course, people are already outraged by this. You have the Canadian Civil Liberties Association saying banning prayer in public places would infringe on freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom association. Public places belong to everyone.
But that's exactly why it's banning.
Let me read the fucking article, bro.
Go.
God damn.
Go.
Public spaces belong to everyone, regardless of their religious beliefs, which is absolute bullshit. We know that as a Christian, you get arrested in Canada for praying on the sidewalk. And it continues just before you go. There's another part where they actually talk to. There's a part. I hope this is in this article because I read a bunch of them, but there was a Muslim association that were obviously against this. Obviously,
of course they are. It's a stopping their their intimidation tactics, their show of force.
But I was just blown away because I've heard about this. Like Legault's been talking about this for a while. This is not the first time he brings that up. He said this, as I said earlier. He said that back in December. He said that multiple times over the years. But I didn't think it's one thing to say we're gonna ban public prayers, but to say that it's a direct, like he's saying this is I'm sending a clear message
to the
Muslims.
Yeah, which is shocking because we all know what the reason for the ban is, but you just the way Canadian politics works, you would have expected he would just say, "Oh, we'll ban prayer," so as not to single out Muslims. But he said, "Yeah, fuck that, I'm singling them out," and so he should, because it isn't Christians who are doing this, it isn't Hindus who are doing this, it isn't anyone else. And what that guy said, the argument there where he was like, oh, the streets are public and blah, 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 they belong to everyone. That's exactly why we're banning it, because you motherfuckers are closing the streets down. Those are public streets, our streets, and you are closing them down. It's exactly the reason why we have to ban it, because you're the ones taking over the streets. If you were just quietly in your head praying while you walk down the street, no one would care. Unless you're Christian, then you get arrested. But, it's just, and even the media just, you don't hate the media enough, man, with these weasel words. Because I'm seeing polling on this question, and that's how they frame it. Do you ban praying in public? Praying in public? No, the issue isn't actually praying in public. If that's all they did, no one would care. The question should be, do you ban shutting down public streets so that people can pray in public? Because most people will say, yeah, of course you should be able to pray in public. But that's not what's going on. They're shutting down the streets to pray. And once you ask that question, that is a completely different answer. And everyone will say, no, of course you shouldn't. But the media will ask the question in the polls, do you agree that we should ban prayer in public? And, some people who are informed will understand what they're actually asking and say yes. But a lot of people who just aren't that politically engaged will be like, no, of course you shouldn't ban prayer in public. And so then they'll go with 60% disagree with the ban, right? When if they ask the real question of should any religion be allowed to shut down public streets to pray, it would be like 90% would agree.
This is the part I was looking for. So in a skating statement, the Canadian Muslim Forum said street prayers are a manifestation of freedom of expression. Banning them, said CMF, would stigmatize communities and undermine social cohesion.
Yeah, because these guys are encouraging social cohesion. They're dividing society. They're shutting down streets. Only they can do it. Christians are getting arrested for doing it. They're getting police protection, and they're whining about social cohesion. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, you clowns.
And guys, if you're new to the show, I'm the Christian.
Just so I'm an idiot. I just the way that Christians are being treated now, like I say, regularly, it offends my sense of fairness and justice. We can't live in a society where certain religions get treated better, certain identity groups get are
more equal than others.
Yeah, exactly. Animal Farm, right? All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. It's exactly what's going on. All religions are equal. But some are more equal than others. Some are more equal than others. And man, I'm really surprised he actually called out the Islamists, but he has to. He should. Quebec's a weird province. Like the province that does the things that make me hate them the most and love them the most are both Quebec. You know what I mean? Like Quebec does shit that drives you nuts that no other province does, but they do shit like this that no other province is willing to do.
You know what's interesting? I was on Jason Levine's podcast this morning, and we were there with, I don't know if you know Leighton Gray, the lawyer. He's a constitutional lawyer out of Alberta, if I'm not mistaken, and the guy's defended some great cases. Like I want him on the show. I had never spoken to him before, but I was invited on Jason's show this morning to talk about something else that ties up with this, which kind of illustrates the point that we're talking about, that you're at least talking about. I wanted to talk about it yesterday, but I didn't have a chance to do so. And I know the guys that are trying to do this. So what we're going to talk about is it's people that I've met that we've spoken before. And there's a Christian show called Talk Truth that just been denied a license to broadcast Christian content via a radio station based in Saskatchewan. The CRTC based its decision on Talk Truth's refusal to abide by DEI restrictions imposed by the Liberal government. The CRTC acknowledged its charter violations, but exercised its delegated authority to deem its own charter violation a reasonable limit under Section 1. So basically, to give you a bit of context here, there's two guys that run a show called Talk Truth. They're Christian. They're heavily Christian. They have been for a long time. They own some stations in the US. They're Canadians, but they have broadcasting rights to the US. and they're trying to buy a station, a Christian station in Saskatchewan, where the owner is just retiring. So he wants to get rid of it, but he wants to be able to pass it down to somebody that's going to continue talking about Christianity. The CRTC got involved because the license, not only are they denying the license, they're saying, no, you can't get a license. Because you need, when you buy a radio station, you need to reapply for the license because it is no longer grandfathered in the purchase. That you can agree or not if it's okay or not. I'd rather it not be grandfathered so that the people don't automatically get a license. But the point is that they're not getting a license because because they refuse to abide by the DEI practices that the government is forcing Canadian to abide by. So the CRTC is now pushing DEI agenda from the Liberal government to people that they don't agree with, Christians. And just in my area right now, I'm just outside of Montreal, so I hear all the stations. I'm always around Montreal or in Montreal.
Yep.
How I would say that a third of the station, if I go through my radio in my truck and I just go next, I would say that a third are neither in French nor English. Often it's in some type of Asian language. Often it's Muslim radios. There's a lot of that here. Are you telling me that those people are respecting DEI policies? See, like, let's be honest for a second here. Are people that are Muslim in culture, that are Asian in culture, that don't speak a fucking lick of French, care about DEI practices?
No, they don't care anything about the nonsense that they're going to benefit from the DEI while the left is in their corner. But once they get enough power, they'll just turn on them. They don't care anything whatsoever. They'll use it to their advantage, but they don't actually care. I just want to take this comment here from Bully Arena. He says, so does Charter, and this is, I believe this is your first comment, so welcome to the show. I'm definitely going to disagree with you here, though. So does the Charter not protect religious expression anymore? Section 2A protects public worship, regardless of belief system, and any laws or bylaws infringing on the rights of violation. No, the Charter does protect religious expression. It does not include the right to shut down public streets so that you can pray. That's completely different. No one is saying, if they're just silently walking down and praying in their heads or even out loud, no one's going to care. But that's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is this right here. This is happening all over the West. It's in the UK. Only one. This is not about prayer. If this was about prayer, they would go to the mosque and do it. This is a show of force. This is an act of dominance. They are saying, we are here. We're going to take over your streets, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. And right now, they're correct. But thankfully, Quebec is doing something about it. Saying that you're not allowed to do this is not violating anybody's charter rights. Freedom of religious expression means freedom from religious expression. You do not get the right to dictate your religion. If your right to religious freedom ends when it infringes on my ability to enjoy public infrastructure, public services.
No, leave the comment there. Bully. So let's say that it does. Let's assume that it does because it's supposed to. It's supposed, the Charter of Rights, Section 2, is supposed to protect the rights and freedom of religion. It's supposed to. But look at what's going on. This is a federal thing. This is not a provincial thing. This is a federal thing. Why are preachers, street preachers, alone on a corner, not on the street, blocking the street, on the sidewalk where people walk, are getting arrested throughout Canada for preaching? Yet you see Muslims all over Canada, in Montreal, in Toronto, they do it in Vancouver, they do it in Edmonton, they do it everywhere. They take over parks, they take over streets without a permit. They literally block a street to pray. Why is it that they get police protection when guys like Derek Reimer a pastor that I've had on my show multiple times get arrested time and time again for praying on the sidewalk. And his story is not unique. I've seen at least 5 to 10 of them over the past couple of years that's been arrested, and it is costing them thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to defend their case in court. And you look at guys like Derek Reimer, that guy's been to jail for this. So,
Yeah.
and he's on probation now, and he keeps breaking it because he's not going to abide by rules that applies to only a few and doesn't apply to everybody. So good for him for what he's doing. That dude is standing up for what is right. But the point in the matter is that it's supposed to protect all freedom of religion, not just certain people. And this society is a Christian society. Love or hate it, this was built on Judeo-Christian values. Nobody is capable of... So the nicest church in Canada is the Basilica in Montreal. I've been to it. It's super close to here. It's absolutely amazing. It's one of the oldest churches, and it is the nicest church in Canada. Yet, almost every Sunday, there's Muslims praying right in front of the church. Literally on the sidewalk right in front of the church. Why? They have hundreds of mosques around here. Why are they praying in front of the biggest church in Montreal? This is a show of force, bro. Freedom of religion? Sure. They take advantage of the freedom of religion. And the point in the matter is that Christians are not going around blocking streets.
And there'd be hell to pay if they did. They'd be getting arrested.
Of course there would be. But why are they allowed to do it when we are not? I guarantee you that if I took a bunch of my Christian friends and we started blocking intersections in Montreal, we would all get arrested. It would get dismantled on the spot. Yeah. Yet they're capable of doing it all the time. They take over parks around here all the time, and nobody does anything. And not only does nobody do anything, but they're often protected by police. People are scared to do something. There's a video, I can't show it here, it's a shame, but there's a video that just came out. I believe that it was in the Toronto area. On a bus, there's a guy that asks, and you see it as clear as day on the camera in the bus. The guy looks at a passenger. He's like, "Are you Muslim?" No. The guy takes a knife, rips his throat right there in front of the camera. Even CTV News has a massive sensor in front, and you can see the blood going down. When's the last time you saw a Christian in Canada do that? Yet those guys are protected. What's the excuse that they're going to have for that guy not to go to jail? Do you know what I'm saying? Well, there's such an emphasis put on foreigners' religion, like we need to protect them
of people's from here.
But let's be honest. At the end of the day, however you feel about Christians, however you feel about Muslims, where do you want to live? Do you want to live under a Judeo-Christian society like North America and what the West was based on, or do you want to go live in Saudi Arabia under Sharia law? Like, let's be honest for a second. Why do you think they don't go there? I should have saved that video. There's a great imam that explains, there's an imam that admits greatly what they're doing. And the guy asks him that same question. So why is it that you always come to Westerner countries to try to pass your policies? Why do you take over parliament like they're doing in the UK, like they're doing in France, and try to put your laws in place? Why are you preaching there? Oh, because I can't go to Muslim countries. They already know. So they basically admit that their goal is to take over societies, and they do it through the left. The left keeps on allowing them to do it through inclusion and DEI policies. So how fucking insane is it that they're telling us to be inclusive, yet have you tried being gay in Saudi Arabia and Palestine and any Muslim? Go try to be gay in Egypt, see what happens to you.
Well, it's just like the utter hypocrisy and paradox of the modern political left, right? What they tell you is Every other culture is allowed to celebrate their culture except for yours. Every other religion is worthy of protection except for yours, except for the one from here. And Bully Arena, he once said right to protest. Okay, but now you're moving the goalposts because that's not what they're doing. They're praying. They're not protesting. And the right to protest is not absolute either. You still need a permit to get in it. They're not getting permits. They're just shutting down streets. Look, I'm an atheist. I'm not a Christian. I don't care. But what I understand on an instinctive level is you cannot in society have a two-tiered system where you treat some identity groups better than others. And if you don't think that's what's going on, then you need to open your eyes because it's happening everywhere around us. Is it that hard to just say apply the law equally to everybody? Everybody. Why is that so difficult for the political left to agree with? I don't understand it.
I want to take, there was a comment here asking me, do you remember when, this one here, Logan White is saying, Nico, do you remember when Legault tried to ban the burqa? How did that fare out? Yeah, that was like in 2018, I think he tried. It didn't work well, but
he should have.
It didn't. I've seen a bunch of them in Montreal last time I was there, so clearly it didn't go. Yeah. But they're bringing that ban on public prayer. They are also going after people in church, people in the school, and people in daycare. You will no longer be allowed to display religious signs, religious symbols.
Good.
If you're a public worker, this is going to get removed, which, listen, do I agree with it or not? It's a slippery slope. That's the problem with this, is that where does this end? And but hold on. What becomes a religion? Because a religion can be pretty much anything if you want it to be. Sure. Does me going, so woke is a religion, does that mean I get to not listen to woke protests anymore? Because that would be a religious protest, and that can't happen anymore? Do you know what I'm saying? So where does it end? I would have to see the bill, and I will read the bill when it's tabled. I will go through it.
If you're shutting down public infrastructure for anything, protest, religious ceremony, it's banned. It shouldn't be allowed to do it. You should not be allowed to shut down public infrastructure. That belongs to the public. Bumpy says, I don't think it's a show of force to pray publicly. Yeah, but you're being disingenuous here, Bumpy, because that's not what they're actually doing. It's not a show of force to pray publicly. But if that's what they were doing, no one would care. They are shutting down streets to do it. That is a show of force. And I don't understand how you can't see that, unless you're just kind of playing devil's advocate here a little bit. But why are Christians not allowed to do it? Why did Sean Foyt, why was his speech not protected even in a Christian church?
Yep.
You had the police fining the church for having a Christian singer in a church. Yep. I'm an atheist, man, and that offends me. Do you not have a sense of justice? A sense of fairness that has to apply? Can you not look enough down the road to see how this kind of a policy, when you're treating any identity group as second-class citizens in their own country, how that's going to create social division and increase more and more tension? You can't just keep telling a group, oh, just suck it up and take it, bend over and take it. You can't do that. Eventually, they were going to fight back.
There's another comment from Bumpy saying it was about the Truth Talk earlier, where the Christian radios, the Christian TV show got refused the license for radio license by the CRTC. The license is owned by the CRTC, and it is a license is a privilege. The CRTC admits in his denial that it is breaking the Charter of Law, the Charter of Freedom, of Rights and Freedom, but it's okay because they're the one doing it. That comes from a lawyer. That's not me reading a text. That came from Leighton Gray this morning when I was recording with him on Jason Levine's show. He's a constitutional lawyer. They will fight this. But even him was saying, because they're capable under Section 1 to break the charter, it's going to be almost impossible to win. So we're at a point now that you have to ask yourself, why is it okay for Muslims to literally shut down streets because they want to pray in front of people as a show of force? Why is it okay for them to get licenses for their programs that I hear around here every day, but a Christian TV show that wants to get an FM radio license cannot get it because they will not abide by DEI practices. Bull fucking shit that Muslims believe in DEI practices. I mean, bull fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, of course. Yeah. Like as Bumpy says, yeah. CRTC licenses are a privilege, but do you not have an issue with them just arbitrarily choosing to snatch them from one religion while granting all the other ones? Like that has to be a problem if you believe in a fair society. Like you have to have an issue with that. Bumpy says the West was built on Abrahamic religions, which includes Islam. No, that's just rewriting history. The West is built on Judeo-Christian values. 100%. Islam attached themselves to it about 600 AD when Muhammad came along. Islam is just an offshoot. It's a schism of Christianity. But Christianity itself was a schism and offshoot of Judaism. Yes, they're all connected. But frankly, I don't want any of these religions to be dictating society. I want to live in a secular society where everyone is free to practice their religion in public or private. And in the public, we don't fucking hear about it. I don't want people to be shutting down of any religion. But if you're going to allow one religion and not allow another, that's a real problem.
And again, this is what I'm arguing. I'm not saying that I want to see Christians blocking streets and shutting down parks to pray. That's not what I'm saying. But all I'm pointing out is the irony that before 10 years ago, like 10 years ago, you did not see Christians do this. Yet now it's totally acceptable for Muslims to do it. And I'm still considered a bigot because I'm pointing out the injustice here. This is the irony. We did not do this 10 years ago. You didn't have to tell us not to block fucking intersections because we knew that you don't do this. That's disrespectful to the other people there. Like what? You did not need to tell me not to do this. I did not need a law.
We live in a multicultural, diverse society. You cannot start picking and choosing winners within a multicultural society, or it's a recipe for disaster. Bumpy says it's not rewriting history. You people have very little perspective. First of all, whoa, you people. But also, man, I promise you, I know this is something I know a lot about. Judaism came first. They believe that there's a promised Messiah. Jesus came along, claimed that he was the Messiah. The Jews said, nope, you're not. They believe he's a heretic. They killed him. A cult formed around Jesus who believed he was the Messiah, the Son of God. That formed Christianity. Couple hundred years later, what's his name? Muhammad comes along and says, no, Jesus wasn't the Son of God, which Christians believe, but he was a major prophet. And hey, I'm actually the most major prophet. So that's that whole thing. But by the time that came along, what European culture had already started. If you're going to tell me that there's any aspect of Islamic culture baked into European Western culture, except for maybe southern Spain when the Moors, invaded from northern Africa, but that's just not correct, man. If I don't know a lot about a topic, then I won't speak with a whole lot of certainty. But this one I do know. There's nothing. The
only thing I'm going to add is, Bumpy, have you read the Bible? Have you read your history? And have you read the Quran? This is simple, man.
Know the history of the religions, at least.
But just look at what Christians stand for and what Muslims stand for. Read the books and tell me if you align with one more than the other. I'm not saying you need to believe in Muhammad or you need to believe in Jesus Christ. All I'm saying is, which one do you agree with the most? Which one do you think builds better society? And if you're telling me that it is Islamic beliefs, bro, there's plenty of countries for you to move there. I'm tired of seeing Muslims taking over countries in the West. I'm tired of it. I'm really, really tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing cultures being changed because we let it happen and we're too complacent. Like the woman that is protesting here now almost every Sunday against Muslim praying is an atheist. She just wants to protect the heritage of Canada. And she's from Iran. Like,
Yeah.
she knows what happens when Muslims take over a country, and she doesn't want to see it here. So this is the thing, right? Bumpy, you need to open your eyes, man. You need to open your eyes.
Sure.
I don't get that. You don't need to be a Christian to understand that you don't want to live under Islamic rule. I don't want to live under Islamic rule.
Yeah, I don't understand. Bumpy's just kind of doing this like sort of like revisionist history that the woke left often does. But like,
I think he's. I think we're gonna kill it right there because this is just trolling at this point. I think he's doing it on. We've been on this for like 35 minutes. There's so many other comments in there, bro.
Islam in the United States can be traced back to the 16th century. I'm sure there were Muslims in the United States, but there's absolutely like America was based on Judeo-Christian values, and frankly, it was also based on a secular state. The separation of church and state is enshrined into the Constitution. There's no aspect of Islam that is built into the infrastructure of the United States, and even if there was, that's irrelevant to today because we've evolved since then, and we don't want it. We don't want it now. Even if they wanted it 400 years ago, we don't want it now. I don't understand why you're kind of sounding like an Islamist here. I don't get the whole, it's fair to oppose banning this Quebec law, which is the topic we're talking about, but to like just completely rewrite history and basically say things that are flat not true. And I don't understand this whole argument. But
I'm not gonna entertain it anymore because this is, to me, this I don't argue with people that will blatantly lie about history. There's nothing I can do about that. I just can't. I can't convince you of facts if you're not gonna listen to facts. What's the point? Is there comments in there you want to take, or do we switch to the next one?
We'll probably just switch
because there's a bunch. There is a bunch of comments.
I mean, a lot of the comments are kind of everyone talking to each other. We'll probably just move on, I think. Yes. No, actually, that's
no. Let it be. It's not. It is absolutely not worth it.
Let's get on to the next topic,
brother. We're not ignoring inconvenient truth. You just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sorry, man. But goddamn, to tell me, like, next thing you're gonna tell me the West was founded on Muslim values. Like, you can join Mark Carney all you want, bro, but this is bullshit. It's an outright lie.
Yeah, there's just no basis for that. Well, okay, like, what's the research then, Bumpy? Like, just tell us something to look up. We can do it while we're on the show. I mean, it's kind of made up stuff that like the woke left does, where they'll just completely rewrite history, right? Trans have been around forever. It's that kind of thing.
If you notice, every time Christianity and Islam comes up, Bumpy starts. He's going to go against whatever we're saying.
Yeah,
this is just a.
But now you're moving the
tendency that I've known.
The West was on respect for religious freedom. Of course it was. Okay. That has nothing to do with your argument earlier about it being based on Islam in some way.
But again, that's what Christianity is about. There's nowhere in Christianity that tells me Jesus Christ has never told anybody to go kill other people because of their religion. Yet the Quran does. So don't give me this shit, right? It's
the
you know what? I'm done.
Jesus didn't marry a 9-year-old, but Muhammad did.
Yeah, those are inconvenient truth.
And at the end of the day, this is a rabbit hole that doesn't belong. Religion does not belong in public life. Period. That's as far as we need to go.
We cannot be scared to address the fact that it needs to stop. Because this is coming from one specific group.
Yep. It's only one.
And they seem to be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want, while people like Truth Talk, they're talking about Christianity, can't even get a license.
Yep.
When the CRTC admits that they are breaking the Charter of Right, but they have the power to do it.
Look, if they were
so it's like the policing itself. Oh, we shot that guy, but you know what? Fuck that guy. We were right. We don't need to investigate it.
We investigated ourselves, and we've determined
and we were
that
good.
We didn't do anything wrong.
That's what the CRTC is doing, except they're admitting that they're doing something wrong. But we have the right to do something wrong and break the charter. That's basically what they said. So
yeah, I mean, my whole argument is you just have to treat all groups in society equal. If it was Christians that were being favored and Muslims that were getting a raw deal and they were not being allowed to do the same thing that Christians do, I'd be here talking in the exact reverse. I'd be supporting Muslims and saying Christians that they shouldn't be doing this. It's not that controversial topic to say that in a multicultural, diverse society, it's extremely dangerous once you start favoring any one group, because all that does is lead to more and more social division of the type that we're seeing exactly right now. Weak Men, Hard Times says, great show, guys. Thank you for that, sir. On that note, I'll probably do the little spiel, guys. If you're watching the show and you're new here, welcome. As you can see, we're doing a lot of, basically the show is built on audience engagement. And even though, we can, sometimes the debate gets a little spirited, we do try to keep it respectful. Bumpy here is a regular. So there's some sibling love, right? You always fight with your family. But guys, if you do want to support the show, please first remember to like and share the stream here on YouTube. That costs nothing. If you really want to support the show, if you want to become support independent media, please consider becoming a member for the low price of $2.99 per month. And that will help allow us to keep bringing you guys this high quality content day after day. And quick programming note, we are changing our time slot starting this Sunday. We will go at 8 p.m. Eastern time to 10 p.m. Eastern time, Sunday through Thursday. So make a note in your
late
calendar.
Night show style.
Yes. So then. Let us move on.
This is a Friday type of question. Damn, it keeps on moving. Nico, what's your favorite poutine?
yeah, there we go.
I don't have one, man.
Hold on, I got to move that giant garbage bag in my background. That's annoying.
Oh, shit, that's very professional. I really don't have one, man. I don't eat poutine very often. I don't eat a lot of crap, so yeah, it's... I don't know, man. I don't eat a lot of poutine, so I don't know, man.
What?
I really don't know.
What kind of a French person are you?
Bro, there's a good reason why I don't weigh 300 pounds of fat, because I tend to be careful about what I eat.
I don't eat a lot.
With the amount of food that I'm capable of eating in one day, bro, I need to be careful. Today's cheat night, though.
Oh yeah, is it?
Today's cheat night. Yeah, every Friday. Out west is a joke. Yeah, poutine out west is a joke. Yeah. Yet it's not very fucking hard to make, man. It's gravy, fries,
gravy,
and
cheese curds and fries. It's great.
Yeah.
There's a poutineery down the street here. They have like pulled pork and cheese.
They make it so complicated. I don't like when they make everything complicated for no fucking reason.
Of course,
sometimes simple dishes are the best.
For a
of
thing.
Course,
yeah.
Bro. Hey, just in Quebec, man, the bags of cheese curd, like you're gonna buy like a super small bag at the Maxi or the Metro, you're gonna pay like $12-15 for it. So for them to charge you that much is not that crazy, because cheese curd is stupid expensive. I don't know why though, but it is. Here's the second topic I wanted to cover today, which is absolutely mind fucking blowing. But there's a report that indicates that federal personnel spending tops operating expenses at $71 billion. And just to put it into perspective, they're making it sound like, federal spending. No. What this means is Canadian taxpayers are spending $71 billion on federal employees' pay, bonuses, and benefits. That's what that headline means. I'm just translating it for you to make sure that we all understand, but they're basically telling us that employees working for the federal government are costing Canadians $71.1 billion. $71 billion. Yes, that's for 2024, 2025, which is an increase of $1.5 billion from the previous year.
Well, surely our services haven't improved, right? Right.
And you know what's funny? I found an old quote by Carney during the election. He said that the essence of this is to spend less and invest more. That means reining in government spending so that Canada can invest more as a country.
Invest more in Zelensky. Invest more in the Ukraine.
But I made a calculation. So just so you guys know this, this is pretty ironic because this morning I was posting a video. I posted something about the budget. And, you know, we were talking about this yesterday, that Canadians pay on average 43% of their income in all sorts of taxes. It's not just federal taxes. It's all taxes from federal to municipal to sales taxes. And it's estimated that currently, so for 2025, it's estimated that Canadians will pay between $460 and $470 billion. That's based on the numbers from 2023 with a 3 to 4% annual growth rate, which is pretty standard. As of March 31st, 2024, Canada had 367,772 federal employees, and that is excluding the Canadian Armed Forces and the RCMP. So you're talking about bureaucrats working for the federal government. If you take the $460 billion to $470 billion, you divide it by 367,772 people. That tells you how much we pay for federal employees. This is going to blow your fucking mind. Give me a number.
How much the government pays federal employees per year?
How much does one federal employee on average, obviously, because there's pay grades, but on average, what is the average federal worker costing Canadians?
Oh, 75,000.
Nowhere fucking close.
What is this?
This, if that was real, if I could, there would be a hand in the back behind you that would have just smacked you.
Wrong.
So the figure I'm going to give you is...
Are we talking just salary, or are we talking like all the benefits?
No, how much does it cost us from including salaries, bonuses, pensions, and benefits?
Okay, how much?
193,343. Wow.
That's the average.
That is what the average salary is. That's what the average cost for a federal employee is. And the average Canadian salary is like $65,000. I saw somewhere, I have to confirm the numbers, but I saw somewhere that it takes 3 Canadians to pay for one federal employee's salary. And I was like, that has to be wrong. But if it is indeed $193,000, and those are the numbers that I calculated myself, I took the numbers and I just divided it. And Grok agrees with my calculation. They're like, yep, that's what, as per the new report, that means this is how much we're spending per employee. How fucking insane is that?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean,
almost 200 grand per employee.
That is crazy. I mean, it drives you nuts because there's so many problems right now. Like there's so many, the economy is stagnant. People are really hurting. Services are in the shitter, and there's so many ways you can cut back and free up money for the services, for things to help people, and not just here. Like, there's obviously massive bloat in the federal workforce. But how many billions are we spending on migrants, right? On asylum seekers, refugee claims. How many billions are we sending to Ukraine for no obvious benefit?
But it gets worse. I have a graph to show you that makes it even worse, but I want to take Bumpy's comment before. Average government job requires a university degree. Incorrect. That is not true. My sister works for the government, and she has a college degree in
provincial or federal.
Federal. No, she is part of the numbers that you just saw, and she has a photography college degree. She doesn't have a university degree.
Yeah.
All my family works for the public sector. I'm the only one in my family that only worked for the private sector. And that is incorrect. My mother worked for the public sector for most of her career after she was done with the military, and she doesn't have a university degree. So no, that is actually, oh yeah, now you're downgrading it to post-secondary. Yeah, well, bro. Come on, we're not talking again. You're moving the post,
but also in any case, like that's irrelevant, really. The matter, the matter is how much money we're spending on the federal bureaucracy.
And it is time for us to privatize a lot of those jobs. Like, this is insane. Like, this is what I want. Look at this. So this is a graph indicating. So I'm just going to read the caption. Breaking Canada labor market. Payroll employment decreased by 32,900 jobs in June. On a year-to-year basis, Canada's payroll employment is only up 41,000 jobs. We issue more work visas to foreigners every month than that. Private sector is collapsing and public sector bloat continues. So this is based on Statistics Canada's data. Look at this. So everything, it's weird the way, I was on the government website this morning, and it's so weird the way they build their graphs. So anything left of the bar is negative and everything right of the bar is positive. It's just weird to look at it. It's not pretty, but basically the only two things, that are not losing jobs are public administration, obviously. So in June, we lost, what was it? 32,900 jobs. The government gained what looks like about 4,000 jobs, the federal government. And art, entertainment, and recreations, whatever the fuck that is. Look at all the rest. Forestry is down. Utilities is down.
Well, basically,
services is down.
It's all fake job growth.
No, but 100%. It's mining's down. Wholesale trade is down. Transportation's down. Real estate's down.
That's a bad.
Healthcare's down. Construction's down. Retail trade's down. Manufacturing is down. And those are big numbers. Like you look at most of the numbers, you're looking educational services, professional, scientific and technical services. So that would have been what I did before. Then healthcare and social assistance, construction, retail, trade, manufacturing. Yet we're still importing hundreds of thousands of foreigners on permanent work visas. But this is where we're at. So we're going to spend this year in 2024, 2025, $71 billion on the salary, benefits, pension of public workers, making them cost us about 193 grand a pop. They continue to grow, yet all the rest of the private sector is literally collapsing.
Well, that's a disastrous chart, right? Because that's where all the actual all the productive members of society, and not like there does need to be some government employees, of course, like there have to be people that run it, but undoubtedly there's a lot of bloat in there. How many DEI managers are in there, right? Just scrap all that. That'll probably save you 10,000. Get rid of 10,000 just there. We'll take a few comments here.
Before you do, let me just, because they all tie up together. Okay. So this is, I don't know if you follow Table Salt, but his posts are,
I'm aware of him.
Freaking hilarious. But he posted this: Canada experienced the largest decline in export in the history of the nation in Q2 2025. Exports of goods decreased 13.1% in the second quarter to 182 billion. Stat Canada. Buckle the fuck up, it's happening. And Brock confirmed those numbers. I tried to find the exact post that he was referring to, because see here, he's posting it. I could not find that exact post. What I found was, see how here it says it's 13.1%. What I found of the website of StatCan was 10.3. So I don't know if they made an edit since yesterday, if they're readjusted.
Between 10 and 13.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course it is. Like, that's what happens when you get massive tariffs and no trade deal with the trading partner who buys 80% of all your goods. to people who might be surprised by this, it's it's kind of like when a hurricane is forecast to hit on Friday, but it's Wednesday here and it's nice and sunny today. Like, yeah, of course it's sunny today, but the storm is coming. Like, we knew this was coming. I mean, maybe not the exact numbers. That sounds high, but yeah,
it's not high. It's fucking scary, man.
Yeah, it is scary. And this is, again, these are just the 20% that's not under Kuzma. I think there's a review of Kuzma next year. Who knows how that's going to go. Bully Arena says the middle class is being eroded away. It seems yet the same people whining, hate unions, protect the elites, and give them tax cuts instead of demanding the wealthy pay more. Makes no sense. Just my opinion. I mean, look, I think that you're new here, Bully. So again, appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. I am liberal, sort of a shifting one, I guess. And I am sort of open to the arguments you're making here. I somewhat agree. I'm not opposed to unions. I don't think public sector unions. I make a distinction between private sector unions and public sector unions. I think public sector unions are probably not really necessary. But, a lot of this seems like, when you talk about tax cuts for the wealthy, that's a slogan that the left says. And maybe in the States, there's some truth to it. But when have there been tax cuts for the wealthy in Canada? Do you think the Liberals are doing that? They've been in power since 2015. The Liberals are not cutting taxes on the wealthy. I mean, it seems like this is, it's not that I'm saying, I don't want to shit on your comments. It's just like, these are the kind of things that left-leaning people say, and perhaps there was truth to them at one point, and I'm not even opposed to but I'd like to see some data here. Like, where are these tax cuts to the wealthy? I suspect if you looked at the tax rate, effective tax rate of most wealthy Canadians, I think they pay quite a bit of tax. I mean, my older brother, I don't know if he wealthy, but I think he probably makes $400,000 to $500,000 a year. I know he pays about 42 or 43% tax.
I paid 50. I made a couple $100,000 before, and what? I paid half of my salary. Man. Half my salary was gone every year. So
yeah.
And I was a single guy with no kids, not going to the hospital, not. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't taking advantage of any of the social services, yet half my salary was gone.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. To me, that's I would consider half a mil wealthy, and if you're paying 43 or 44% of your income, I think you're paying a lot. Now, Joe says Bully is telling the exact truth about what's happening in USA, and I mean that's fair, right? Like, I don't know enough about in the States, but I could see that being more accurate down there. So yeah, I don't want to make it seem like I'm shitting on you, Bully, or anything. I appreciate the comments, and I know we had a little bit of a back and forth earlier, but that's sort of how we do the show. We try to keep it respectful.
You want to leave the comments so I can read it too?
Yep. Let me see. I'll bring it back up.
The middle class is being eroded away, and it seems that I agree with you 1,000%. Yet it seemed that the whining hate unions. Like you said, I don't like. I'm not the biggest fan of unions because right now they're bloating. They're not really helping because we don't live. I don't think we live in a society that really requires unions like it did, let's say, 150 years ago or 100 years ago when we did not have all the protection that workers enjoy today. I'd much rather we get rid of temporary foreign workers than push more unions. Protects the elite and give them tax cut instead of demanding the wealthy pay more. From last time I checked, wealthy pay more than 75 or 80% of the taxes collected at the end of the year. So how much more do you want them to pay? Do you want to also cap the amount of money that they can make? Do you think that you shouldn't be able to be a billionaire or you shouldn't own a specific amount of money? The way that you're talking is, it's like banning stuff, right? Where does it end? Like I was saying about banning public prayers. I wish we didn't have to ban them because people knew to be respectful.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now we're talking about banning it, and I'm like, I understand why it's happening. Am I celebrating the ban? It bothers me because I wish we didn't live 10 years ago. That was not a conversation to be had because we weren't doing it. We didn't have to ban this because it was just fucking common sense. But where does it end? What you're saying, because this is how socialism gets put into a country, is with talk like this, the have and the have-nots. Now, are there problems in our society? Yeah, there is. But what's the solution? Because I get what you're saying, and you've said this multiple times, that a lot of people like to show up the problems and say, this is the problem. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
you know what? Let's agree. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that I agree with you that we need to tax the rich more. How much? What's the number? Is there a maximum that they
that's
can
how these
earn?
debates have to go, right? That's
yes,
how they have to go.
What's the cap? Because I don't like banning stuff. I don't like capping people. An example that I use all the time is how do you call it? Mozart type of music, classical music. There's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of classical composers that have lived over the past centuries, right?
Yeah.
We know of about 5 because they dominate.
Yeah.
This is the truth for everything where there's competition. Look at professional sports. It's a small percentage of the best college players in the US that get to play in the NFL. Of the college players, not the people that grow up playing ball. The people that actually are the best of the best in the college, just a small percentage of them end up in the NFL. Everything that has a system based on work, you're rewarded for your work. There's only a super small percentage of people that rule at the top. That's always how it is, because there's only a few amount of people that are ready to do the work. And I'm not saying that ready to do the work is necessarily based on morality, because clearly it isn't. But it's always what happens when you have free market, you have competition. There's only a few that are meant to lead, and there's only a few, and the vast majority of people are workers. The problem that we have is that our decisions that we make are no longer based on morality. If you look at politicians, for example, you look at the psychology behind politicians, they're narcissists, they're sociopaths. There's studies that showed that in order to be a CEO of a company today, you need to be a sociopath. You need to be able on a day's notice to say, I'm going to fire 10% of my workforce because this is going to increase the value. You need to be able to look at names and
throw my buddy under the bus to get ahead or whatever.
And unfortunately, this is the type. I could not be that person. I couldn't live with myself doing that. But that is not the vast majority of people that want to get ahead. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sociopaths out there, and they end up at the top, unfortunately. So what's the problem? Is it really that we're not taxing the rich enough? Or is it that the people that are in power are narcissists, they're sociopath, and we have a morality problem?
Well, and you know, I just to stay on Bully's question here, and because I think this
is a great conversation, though.
Yeah, and
I like that conversation.
Hopefully, you stick around, Billy, because this question shows exactly kind of how this show goes a lot. Where I'm more aligned with you on this comment than Nico is for sure, but we all agree on the problem. The middle class is being eroded, right? So one thing you find, and you know, with this show, we do try to take a different approach to these kind of discussions. But when you do that and you come at it from common sense and good faith, you actually find that we often will agree on a lot more things. There's a lot more common ground than you think. And on this, we agree on the problem. Now we're just debating what the solution is, and that's where debate is productive. But you know, I definitely agree with what Nico was saying earlier. Like, we have a saying around here where it says "show your work." You know. And I don't want to I don't mean to shit on you or anything, just because I know for the most part, most internet discourse is done on slogans and sloganeering, tax the rich and, you know, make America great again. But a lot of that's just meaningless. You know, it's a fair take to say we should tax rich, but like, you know, let's have solutions. How much do we need to tax rich? Because that will make all the difference in the world, right? You know, so just to, I just want to kind of give a little space there for that comment, but I think, you know, because I know that there was a little disagreement earlier, but just didn't want you to think that we're just shitting on you or anything like that. We do try to have a respectful debate. And this is, I think, where the debate is productive, when we're discussing solutions instead of just, you know, screaming at the other side, slogans and stuff like that. And I got to go with Bumpy here on this. I think I don't know that there ever was a golden age of morality. I think you're looking back with a little bit of rose-colored glasses. Now, if your argument is,
Who's looking back? Me?
Yeah, because you're saying we don't make decisions based on morality anymore, which implies that we once did.
I didn't say anymore. If I did, that was not in the context at all. I never implied that this ever existed. I'm just saying that this is the best system that we have. And if you have a better one to propose, I'm all ears. But at the end of the day, I believe in free market over giving more power to the government and enabling Big Brother to tell me what I can and cannot do. Is it perfect? No.
And it's never
but unfortunately, I don't. It's human nature. I'm not saying that this is possible. I didn't imply that it ever existed or that's even achievable because I think it's outside of human nature. This is why my whole point is that it's very easy to say tax the rich, tax more of the rich, but where does it end? Where does it lead? What's the next step? What's the actual solution? Because what were we just talking about earlier? $71.1 billion is what we pay in federal employee salary, pensions, and benefits. $460 to $470 billion are taxed every year. A big portion goes there. We clearly don't have better services than we did 10 years ago before Trudeau added almost 150 federal employee workers. So why are we doing it? So do you think that giving the government more money from taxpayers is going to fix the problem? Or maybe we have a management problem? And the answer is simple. We do have a management problem. Because you can throw the money you want at the government. They're just going to give more shit away because they don't have to produce that money. Government are about the only entity in the world that don't actually generate income. They tax people. They would never survive. Public workers, the way public crown corporations, for example, look at Canada Post. It would never survive in the real world if it wasn't backed by billions and billions and billions of dollars from taxpayers' money. CBC wouldn't survive if it wasn't for the fact that we give them $1.4 billion every year. Same thing with, what was it? CN, the transit, the
via
CN Rail. Yeah. It would have died a long time ago.
Well, I mean, Canada Post would survive, but that's because they would have to behave like an actual company. They couldn't behave the way they do now.
But that's my point. What I'm saying is they cannot survive
doing what they do
crown
now.
Corporation.
Yeah. Exactly.
My point is that when's the last time that you thought that the government well managed your money?
Yeah, and you mentioned human nature, and I actually think human nature needs to be considered when you're looking at any policy.
everything.
And I it's pretty clear to me that there is inequality is built into human nature. Now that doesn't mean we need to accept limitless inequality, but we're never going to eliminate it. The humans are hierarchical animals, and there will always be a certain amount of inequality to the extent that we have control over this at all. It would be to try to prevent it from getting too extreme. And I believe right now it probably is either there or getting close to that. But that's why so many, I think left-wing ideologies like communism, they fail because they might sound good on paper in some utopia, but they just completely refuse to consider actual human nature and human psychology.
Joe is sounding very common sense on this one. We need to find a balance point between cutting waste and making sure tax burden are proportionate 100%. To how much we prosper in the system that allows us to thrive.
Yes.
And, again, I'm going to bring that back, but 43% of working Canadians, 43% of their salaries or their income goes to tax. Do you really need to increase the salary or decrease the amount that people are
I think
paying?
It's probably people. I think it's probably
but do you know what I mean? Like if 43% of your income goes to taxation, there has to be a mismanagement somewhere.
Yeah.
Because it's not like our services are doing better. Name me one social service, let's say healthcare, social services like housing, like welfare, like somebody that's handicapped that can't work. Talk to me about education. Can you really name me a social service that is better today than it was 10 years ago after Justin Trudeau added like 100? It's between 100 and 100,000, 100 and 150,000 new federal employee. Can you name me one service, one social service that we have that you believe is better than it was before? Try reaching CRA, right?
Yeah, well, exactly, right. You can't even call them. I think to answer your question, since we're talking about solutions, my personal opinion is that I think the solution should be more focused on cutting the actual workforce. I definitely, and this is where where some of my liberal roots show, but I'm okay with high government salaries because that sets a bar that now the private sector, I think it acts as it sort of keeps wages high because now the private sector has to pay their own workers more maybe in order to, because they can't have this huge gap between government workers. And I just think there's a rising tide floats all boats aspect to it.
One does not impact the other whatsoever.
Well, I mean,
whatsoever. If you look, but have you ever worked for the government or look at least at their pay structure?
What do you mean?
Because if you look at the way the government is, like the pay structure, like it's all done by steps, right? Depending if you're in a technical field, if you're in an administration field, if you're a manager, like it's different pay scales, but you get automatic upgrades pretty much every year. But it's very good for worker bees. You don't need to be very smart. You don't need to be a very hard worker. If you're just regular Joe, you're highly protected. You have all the benefits in the world.
Yep.
If you compare private sector if you compare like the private sector worker bee and the government worker bee, they're probably paid twice the salary, if not more. If you consider the benefits, you consider everything, right? But as soon as you start looking at upper management, they don't make that much money compared to the private sector. Like you get very high level. You'll look at the equivalent of a VP, which my stepdad ran a department, and I made more than him in my last job. Like if you counted my bonuses, if you counted everything, I made more money than him. And I was not in upper management. I was a sales engineer. I made a very good salary, but I made more money than him. So it's the working bee. Working at the government is great. So a lot of people, you know what they do? They do the working bee. They get to an upper management job. And as soon as they got the experience and all the contacts, they move to the private sector, probably quadruple their salary, and then sell services to the people they used to work with. I've seen it done so many times. So it's good for the worker bees, but it's not good for the upper management.
Yeah.
They don't make that much money compared to the private sector.
That makes sense.
I don't know if it makes sense. It's just the way it is. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know.
Joe, I like this comment here from Joe. He says, this is a learning process for me. I get nowhere just telling people they're wrong. I now strive to find inroads through common ground. And I really like this comment here because
you're welcome, Joe. You're welcome.
It's exactly kind of what we set out to do with the show is model a whole new way to discuss these issues, because everyone up until almost every other show, every aspect of social media, the way they discuss these issues is just screaming at the other side, telling them they're wrong. And, one of the things we set out to do was to create a model, an entirely different way to discuss these issues in a way that's actually productive. And, sort of create a culture here. And yes, this is still a small show, but in theory, imagine when we go to this new time slot, hypothetically, let's just imagine for a second, it actually picks up space. It becomes big enough that this whole style of debating actually spreads, and you start seeing this in politics, on the news, the way that we're discussing things, right? Like I think, and Joe's comment is showing exactly, because it is kind of new for all of us. Like we set out to set this kind of culture, but it's new for us as well. And as you can see, if you've been here long enough, that it actually is a much more productive way to debate. And if our politicians talk the way that we do on this show, I feel like they would solve a lot more problems.
Sylvie's saying that those pay grades stop after the maximum is reached then you get the inflation rate. That's exactly my
That's a
point.
sweet gig,
Like
man.
well, it's a sweet gig if you're a regular working bee that doesn't. If you're not looking to become a top earner, if you don't have the stride or the drive to become the best at what you do.
Oh, the government's
working for the government,
right? Yeah,
the government is a golden goose that you need to get right away.
Yeah.
Because getting autumn, but I made more money in the private sector than upper echelon of government workers. So
your upside
there's
is
a trade-off,
higher,
right?
But your downside is your downside.
But I had all the risk. If I don't make my quotas,
yes, exactly.
Bye-bye. I'm not keeping my job.
Yes, high risk, high reward.
So for the average person that does not want that, is the government's great. Oliver, you need to explain, Oliver Ruff, you need to explain that comment because I think
he's joking. Is he joking?
I don't know. I just want him to clarify what you mean by that. Are you I'm assuming that's what you're saying.
I don't think that applies to the peasants. I don't think it applies to the government.
Canada's limited to 10K cash for foreign aid. I don't know what you mean by that. I saw another comment earlier saying like a 10K limit too. So I don't know what you're talking about. I thought maybe you were talking about the limit on cash. Yeah, but that hasn't passed. That's what I was thinking. But just explain what you mean because I don't understand the comment.
Should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I had one I need to check into. I was so stuck into this conversation. Oh, here we go. No, I got it right here.
It's a new law for RICO. Well, I mean, but when you say Canada is limited,
RICO, is that not the mobster crap?
Yeah, it's an American law. I think he's talking about Bill C2, which is
racketeering, influenced, and corrupt organization. Yeah, that's.
But when you say Canada is limited to 10K cash foreign aid, do you mean the government of Canada is limited to foreign? Because that's
clearly not.
That's that's not correct. Or do you mean Canadians are limited to sending $10,000 overseas?
Well, that has not passed. Like this has not passed yet. If that's what you're what you're referring
that is
to,
correct. That is going to be correct once it passes.
Well, hey, fuck! Don't say that. Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, see, I'm not really understanding.
It's fine.
Canada's.
It is what it is.
Here is this. I just wanted to show because this makes me laugh. This is CBC released this yesterday, saying that more electronic devices being searched at the U.S. border more than ever. So it seems that the border agents, the American border agents, are asking more and more Canadian origin individuals, so people that are in Canada, to give up their cell phones in order to be searched than ever. But I haven't looked at it yet because I already know where this is going to go.
Did they do this when you went? Because I haven't been through the border in like 10 years.
No, but let's just watch the video. But then I want to show you some numbers just to show you how great that video is.
Bro, you're going to see.
Nathan Lamb says he's not going back to the United States. The New Brunswick professor was denied entry in January, so he got a visa, but still faced trouble in March.
I was taken to secondary detention.
I cannot hear it at all. Oh, yeah, that's the thing from earlier, eh? That you were saying was
okay. Yeah.
Hold on. System virtual. Hold on, just let me see. Is that better?
They held me there.
No, I can still not hear it. Oh, that's so weird. Son of a bitch.
Do you want me to try?
Can you guys hear this?
Nathan Lamb says he's not going back.
Is it clean?
Yeah.
Back to the United States. The New Brunswick professor was denied.
Okay, cool. So let's listen to this.
Nathan Lamb says he's not going back to the United States. The New Brunswick professor was denied entry in January, so we got a visa, but still faced trouble in March.
I was taken to secondary detention. They held me there for 3 hours.
Lamb says border agents never told him why. He was eventually let in, but says the experience was intense.
They had my phone for 45 minutes.
So true.
He claimed, he claimed it was just going to be a very cursory search.
The U.S. Customs and Border Protection says overall searches of electronic devices like cell phones are up nearly 17% from the previous record set in 2022. Between April and June, almost 15,000 devices were searched.
I just became really upset.
Going to visit her fiancé in Maine, New Brunswicker Angela Degel not only had her bags and phone searched.
They had detained me in handcuffs, had me handcuffed down to a bench.
Her husband looks like one too.
I was just really trying to ask.
That's probably why they're all getting. That's the
what
common
was
thread.
happening.
U.S. authorities say they search phones for a wide range of material, from child pornography to terrorism to evidence of smuggling. But the spike in searches also coincides with Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration, with high-profile arrests, detentions, and deportations.
The border is not doing anything they've never had the power to do. They have always been able to check phones. What we're seeing is an exercise of discretion that's much stricter than ever before.
She suggests Canadians comply with border officials. In June, the number of Canadians traveling to the U.S. was down almost 30% from last year. Some say it isn't just about politics, but worry about how they'll be greeted as they cross over. Sarah Levitt, CBC News.
The Americans don't care. They don't care about
but let me put this into context for you. They're making this whole video sounding all alarming, like this is the end of the fucking world. Like the increase, it increased by 17%. She mentioned 14,889 cell phones were searched between April to June. That's 3 months.
That's crazy.
Do you know how many people crossed over in March alone? 864,000 people. So you're talking
like
about us, not even five. No. The numbers I showed you was for 3 months. I'm giving you the numbers for the month of March.
Wow.
So you almost have 900,000 people that went to the U.S., 14,000. So 5,000 of them got their cell phone searched. So 99% of people cross the border with no problem. And CBC had to make a video about it. A big headline, making it sound like Donald Trump is responsible for accusing you of being a pedophile.
Personally responsible. He's in there. Search that guy. Search that guy. I mean, it's just one of those things. Again, it's like complaining about the wind blowing or the rain. There's nothing you can do about it. It's their country. The border guards have a ton of power. They all the rights and stuff that citizens have, or even you would have once you're in the country. You don't have them when you're trying to get in. They can do whatever they want. They can literally just say, I don't like the look of your face and I'm not going to let you in. They can do that. They probably wouldn't, but it's not, you don't have to let them search your phone, but then just be prepared.
You don't have to be in the U.S. either.
Turn around and go home. Turn around and go home.
I cross the border all the time. Like I was just in the U.S. like 3 weeks ago. I spent half my year down there, and I can tell you from having crossed all over Canada, from different points of entry, U.S. and Canada, I'd much rather enter the U.S. than come back to Canada. People on the Canadian border are so much more assholes than people in the U.S. The people are so much nicer at the border going to the U.S. than coming back to Canada, and I'm a fucking Canadian citizen.
Yeah.
I've been in secondary inspections so many times. Every time I come back from the U.S., because I'm always hauling a U-Haul, right? Because we have a travel trailer down in Alabama. We didn't even get inspected when we crossed it. The guy didn't even notice that I had a 100-pound German Shepherd sleeping on the back seat of the truck. The guy's like, what are you guys doing? We're going to travel to the U.S. For how long? 6 months. How are you going to support yourself? We got money. Oh, okay, cool. Peace out, motherfuckers. Sweet. That was what, and we're hauling a 12,000-pound monster behind us. They couldn't care less. I get back to Canada with a small U-Haul, like a 5x9 U-Haul. I spend 2 hours at the border, just like the woman said, I don't get arrested, but they will open it. They will go through all the stuff. But that doesn't happen when I go to the US. That only happens when I come back to Canada. So
yeah, no, it's just one of those things. It's their country, it's their laws. They can do whatever they want. It's like, why freak the fuck out that, like, you know, they get to pick the president. They pick Donald Trump, so we have to deal with them. It's just, you know, it's this weird thing. A lot of Canadians seem to think they have some say over how Americans run their country. I don't understand it. It's just, yeah, but of course it's built up into this big story by the CBC because,
and that's why I'm bringing it up.
It fits the narrative of
of course.
But at the end of the day, yeah, if you don't want your phone searched, then probably don't go.
Actually, man, it would be a lot.
0.88%.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I said 1%. I thought she meant that 88% didn't, like 12%.
Like
no, 0.88. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's nothing. Like, I would be kind of pissed if I was responsible for letting people in, that I only really searched people less than 1% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, they're mailing it in, really, for the most part.
That sounds problematic.
Yeah, they probably should be. Honestly, I would want Canada. I hope Canada security guards or border guards search forms more often than that. That's pretty rare.
And Sylvie's kind of making this is exactly what I'm saying. The U.S. border should search more than what you just said, Nico. My point exactly. Yeah. Less than 1% of people are being actually searched. That means that 99% of people just.
Yeah.
Here's my passport.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Yeah. I mean, it's
sounds pretty easy to me.
It's a nothing burger. It's not a story, but like it's up 14%. Oh, so it went from 0.66% to 0.88%.
But did you see how they did not mention the fact that there's 865,000 people crossing the border every month? Well, that they're not going to mention. They're not going to mention that because now, oh shit, less than 1% of people get searched. That's no headline.
Yeah, I mean, usually the mainstream media won't flat out bold-faced lie. Their lies come in what they don't say, what they leave out, the context, the way that they discuss it. So yeah, I mean,
great example right there, eh?
Yeah, exactly, right. What they said is correct. It went up, but I mean, you know, you can lie with statistics. It
went from 0.67% to 0.88.
Yeah, a 14% rise. And yes, that's correct. It is a 14% rise, but it went from almost nothing to very little tiny more than almost nothing. So yeah, and at the end of the day, even if it was 88%, there's nothing you can do. It's their country. They're going to do what they want, and they have the right to do whatever they want, just like we have the right to do whatever, search whoever we want when they want to come.
I wish we did. I
feel like we probably don't.
Not just the bald-headed tattooed guys.
No, yeah, you've been what's the word? You've been discriminated against. You've been.
I did not. I did
racially
enjoy
profiled.
The cavities. I did enjoy the cavity searches though.
Yeah.
You saw the great.
You're gonna finish, or you're gonna finish, or what? Can't just leave me hanging, here, bro.
One finger.
Yeah. The last guy did 3.
At least spit on it. There's did you see the meme of the doctor and the guy that's bent over that's gonna get a cavity search, and it's
like
just
a prostate
like
exam or something?
Yeah, exactly. So imagine this guy's getting a prostate exam. He's bent over on the table, pants down, and the doctor's like putting his glove on, and he's like, "Do not get Bob. Don't get an erection." The guy's like, "Hey, my name's Steve." So basically the doctor is talking to himself. Don't get Bob. Don't get an erection. Bob, don't get an erection.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm Steve, bro.
Stop those visuals. No, I'm a storyteller. I have to illustrate my point, literally.
Yes, to all of our detriment. Should we get a half hour left? Probably get another topic or two.
Oh yeah. I haven't had time to research this one as much as I normally do, but I just thought it's from the Epoch Times, which I absolutely love those people.
Mm-hmm.
They released this morning saying that the government said it accidentally deleted privacy provision an online streaming bill.
Okay.
Accidentally. Basically, so earlier this week, University of Ottawa law professor Michael Jitz outlined a blog that a privacy provision in the legislation was removed only 2 months after the bill became law through an amendment contained in another bill. We've recently, the Heritage Department said that it's now aware of the issue. So basically, the government's passed 2 bills, which the second bill they passed removed the clause from the first one because they're very good at doing that. Remember Bill C2, how it kept on referring to the criminal code, saying we're going to change this, we're going to change that, we're going to change this from the criminal code in the bill itself. But you don't see the criminal code right next to it, right? So you always need to keep track of what was there before what's removed. So the law professor basically just saw that the online harm bill, you remember that bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
The online streaming bill, sorry, not harm bill. That one never passed. That's Bill 69. But this is the bill that is preventing media to be distributed through Meta, for example. Remember that? Like, just Carney was just questioned on this earlier. I don't know. CBC's unbiased, so why would we revoke this bill when you have the best type of news right here in Canada? Yeah. We don't need to see what's going on, but yeah. So basically, they're saying that this was an accident. I just thought it was hilarious that one bill canceled the privacy provision, as in our privacy provision. Like the protection of us,
they didn't have
accidentally
a backup?
Disappeared.
They didn't have a rough draft or a backup that wasn't saved anywhere. Control C maybe just to bring it back. It's just incompetence.
Is it incompetence, or they just because you're talking about official bills, like the official website of the government that shows you what the bill is about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what becomes law. It's like saying, "Oh shit! I just noticed that the criminal law on the federal government website does not protect people anymore. Yeah, it's no longer possible for you to call the police. Oh shit! Maybe what the fuck here? Maybe we should investigate." So this is the type of mistake, and you can call it whatever you want. They'll never admit that it was done on purpose or was not done on purpose, but. One bill, again, when we dived into Bill C2, all the provisions that were changing the criminal code, as in, it's not just police now that can obtain a search warrant, but a bureaucrat can now go to a judge to search your home. No.
Based on
absolutely. So imagine that tomorrow you look at the
shit in the garage or something.
Yeah, so this is the thing, right? You need to be very careful about what bills do change in other bills, but supposedly it was just a mistake. The Heritage the Heritage ministers it was a mistake. We're going to look into it.
Yes, of course.
We're going to get one of our $200,000 paid employees.
They're going to form a committee. Get some consultants in there to look at it. Send it to committee for a couple of years. Pay a few mil. It's just fraud.
We've recently been made aware that what appears to be an inadvertent oversight in the coordinating amendment, and we are looking into it, said a spokesman.
Cool.
Given the importance of privacy, it is a type of mistake that just can't happen, which needs to be fixed as soon as possible, because you're talking about our privacy.
But I just
don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it.
Can't they just put it back in? Like, I don't understand why do they not remember? They forgot. Oh, it got deleted, and I just don't remember what it said. Like, surely someone, maybe the guy who wrote it, or gal or whatever, you could be like, "Oh, hey Frank, you know that clause there about privacy? Yeah, some idiot deleted it. Could you write it again?" Like, this isn't hard. I don't understand it.
It's just to show it kind of goes with I'm kind of trying to make fun of the government workers for doing their job so well.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not like they're costing us $193,000 or anything.
They certainly made it private. They made it so no one will ever read it. Delete it, and now it's private. But yeah, I mean, we could probably do story after story after story after story about government doing stupid.
Yeah, but it's Friday. It's not
Yeah.
a very busy day in the world of news either.
That's right. What?
You know what? I wanted to show this. So I don't, man. I swear that there's somebody on Pierre Poliev's team that is listening to our show. I swear.
Why did he?
I swear.
Did he do something else that we said?
He was on a podcast yesterday or 2 days ago. So what are we? Friday? It was released yesterday. He did another podcast where Axe the Tax 2.0. Yeah, of course. That it's a very low ball. Nothing. You know that all the questions were sent prior.
Oh yes.
Everything needed to make sure that it was okay. But
tell us about your big win in Alberta last week.
Oh yeah, how close? Did you ever feel like you were losing?
Yeah. How did you get the people of Crow River, whatever, Blackfoot or whatever
to vote for you
in such large
Battle
numbers?
River, Crowfoot.
Oh, this is that's Jeremy McKenzie, isn't it?
Huh?
I think that's Jeremy McKenzie right there, is it not?
Who the hell is Jeremy McKenzie?
That picture there that you're showing.
No, I understand. Clearly, I know.
Oh.
I know the guy you're referring to.
He's that guy.
Jeremy McKenzie?
I don't know. He's that guy that they talk about. I started in Afghanistan with him, but he's got his own podcast.
I doubt that it is.
No, maybe not. Oh, okay.
Hold on.
No,
it's hosted. It's hosted by Josh Udall and Reg Manzer. The podcast is 11-8. Okay. 11-8 podcast.
So it's Josh Udall. Gotcha.
So Josh Udall, does that sound right? Yep.
Okay.
Josh Udall and Rez Manzer are the two guys.
Oh, okay. So Pierre Polyev finally says it. Let's hear what he says.
But this is the part I listened to most of it. It's boring. It's boring as hell. But the last part, he asks him, "What does it mean to be Canadian?" Because I wonder, right? I wonder that same question, and I just wanted to see, what did you guys think? Are you convinced?
Kind of going to Daniel Smith's writing, though, in Alberta, with them kind of talking about separation, it's really called into question like the identity of Canada. And I know that you have Mark Carney saying we're the most European of the European, non-European states, and you have Trump down there saying, "Oh, 51st state, you're so beautiful. Wouldn't you be great as an American, state?" And then you had Trudeau saying we're a post-national state. So it's like no wonder that Canadians feel like we just don't have an identity right now. And so my really honest question for you is just, what does it mean to be Canadian?
So to me, to be a Canadian,
according to the focus group,
to aspire to share in the same promise, the promise this country made every single one of us. You work hard, you get a great life, you get to have a nice house in a safe street. And then not only do you enjoy that promise, but you have to protect it. Sometimes that means taking arms to fight a war, as our ancestors and more recently, our more recent veterans did. Sometimes it just means fighting for changes that preserve the promise through the political system. Sometimes it just means doing your job as a good law-abiding Canadian. But that to me is the thing that is unifying and special about this country. It's a meritocracy where you're judged
what is it?
Not by where you come from, but by how hard you work and what you contribute. And that we are prepared to fight for that and defend it, that we have a common identity, and that identity is rule of law, Western freedoms, government is servant, not master, the British common law
literally
system.
Just listing slogans.
Those are our basic pillars of our identity, and they uphold the promise that I described at the outset. I like to say, Trudeau was a post-nationalist. Carney calls himself a globalist. Trump is a protectionist. I'm a Canadian nationalist. Canada first. We should put our own country first in everything we do, whether it's foreign policy, immigration, trade, economics. We should put Canada and its people first. And that is a big distinction from the globalist and post-nationalist view that the Liberals have imposed with great devastation over the last decade.
Yeah, I want to push you a little bit further. Sure. I just want to ask, But like, how does that make us different though? Like a lot of the things you mentioned, like you can point to some states
Americans would
the
say
US,
that
you can
too.
point to entities in the EU, and they share, because we obviously share a common lineage from England. But I'm just wondering, like, what makes us, like, what are our cultural pieces that make us unique? What is it that you can say, yes, that's Canadian, that's Canada, that's who we are. We can rally behind that.
Well, first of all, we have, French and English, our official languages. The fact that we've been able to coexist with those two different languages and two different backgrounds. What makes us different than Europe? Well, we imported the European people over the generations without importing any of the European conflicts. It's incredible when you think about it. Protestants and Catholics were tearing each other's eyeballs out on the British Isles and Ireland, etc., and even on the continent for years, and then they came to Canada and got along, and that was really the speciality of our countries, that people came from around the world, slogans. And they.
I mean, Bully, it's a good comment. I think I think you'll get a lot of agreement here. I like some of Pierre's ideas, but he sounds like a broken record. More cops, stiffer sentences, more pipelines. F Trudeau, F the Liberals. We know Pierre. Heard it already. You're boring now. Yeah, he's a sloganeer, right? It's slogans.
Do you feel that he understands what it is to be Canadian?
It sounds like, again, they ran a few focus groups, and what he said is roughly the most generic, unoffensive answer. It didn't really, it was just, word salad, right? It's just words.
Kamala Harris right there.
Feel good words that we've all heard for our whole lives. We've all heard that stuff. But like, I think sometimes we kind of get stuck saying things so often that even when they stop becoming true, we still say them. Like, is that because as he was listing off the things, right? It's a meritocracy, and if you work hard, I'm like, is that even the promise anymore? I don't even think that's the promise. I don't think no one's even promised that. It's not even like we're promised it and we're not getting it, so we're angry. We're not even promised that anymore. I think it's understood that this is not a meritocracy. Now, should it be? Of course, yeah, that should be aspirational. But I mean, that's a tough question. I don't even know how. I was thinking that, like, how would you answer that? I don't, for you in the audience, how would you answer that? I don't know that
I really want to know, the people that are listening, please let us know.
Yeah.
What does it mean for you to be Canadian?
Yeah. Because I got nothing. And I mean, I do have a sense somewhere of what it means, but I can't articulate it. I don't. And, it's kind of what he did mention, Justin Trudeau, when our leaders are saying things like we're a post-national state and proud of that, of course, the people are not going to be able to define themselves as anything other than, well, we're not American. And that's exactly what it is. That's basically all anyone says. People will talk about, well, our healthcare system, but like, okay, that's a healthcare. Like, you can't define yourself as a people by a healthcare system. That's stupid.
But what does it mean for the people out there?
Yeah. Does anyone have a good answer?
What does it mean to be Canadian? Because I can tell you what it used to mean, at least what it used to mean to me. Because one of the things that we have to always keep in mind is that when settlers came here, they came from a very safe country in Europe somewhere, and they came to a country that was untamed. Like, you can go to the US and, you always hear those nice cowboy stories. You always hear the settlers, but Americans don't deal with the type of weather that we have. No. They don't. We survived in minus 40 degrees. We have winters, like, for 4 months a year, we have fucking snow on the ground and it's below zero. We survived that. Not only did we survive that, but we strived into the wilderness. We literally built one of the second biggest country on the planet through the wilderness, through walking from one ocean to the other. Like, let's put it into perspective. Canadians by nature are tough as nil. The reason that we have so many social services is that we do understand, at least our ancestors understood, that we need to stick together in order to survive. You don't survive this type of climate by being on your own. You don't. You need other people to produce the service or to offer services or produce goods that you need that you don't have time to produce. Like if you're a farmer, you ain't fucking fixing other stuff. You have other people fix it for you because you're providing the produce that you're selling. So you have to grow this shit. You have to take care of your cattle. So the point is that we're tough as nails. This to me is the best definition of a Canadian. We're tough as nail. Our ancestors were probably the toughest fucking people in North America in order to go through what we've been through in order to take over this country. To beat this wilderness, because it was insane when you think. Can you imagine coming here from Europe? You're like, oh, I've seen snow before, to having a few feet of snow. Nothing prepares you. I studied with an African back in the days, like 20 years ago, when I went back to college. Our session started in January. The dude shows up from fucking Africa. It was minus 20 or minus 30 when he got out of the airplane that day. I can tell you that Canada is fucking cold in the winter. You're going to need a winter coat and a hat. Nothing can prepare you for a minus 30 Canadian cold in the middle of winter. Nothing.
No.
Yet we lived in that without the technology of today, and we were able to build this. It's insane. We're tough as nails. But I never hear that in the definition of anybody that tells me what it is to be Canadian. Yes, we're complacent. Yes, we accept everything. Yes, we don't seem to stand up for anything anymore. But at the end of the day, we used to stand up for each other. We used to be tough as nails, and we survived one of the toughest fucking environment to live in. Well, and we're the second biggest country on the planet. Like, we're not a tiny little island somewhere. We're literally one of the biggest country on the planet. I think we're second, right?
And you know, and it's hard to answer that. You know, I see, I think it was Oliver asking us, and you know, we started this because I honestly, I mean, that was a pretty good answer that you just gave. I think Alberta Nan gave a pretty good one. She said, I used to think it was part of being a free democratic society based on a blend of cultures that respected building the nation. I'm smarter now. Yeah, that's probably how I would have answered it 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know that I mean, immigration and the whole melting pot concept certainly was at the heart of what I thought it was, but it's been a different kind of immigration since 2020. It's different. The amount is different. The type is different in terms of the attitude. There's no sense that migrant immigrants are coming here to be Canadian and not. I mean, I'm generalizing, of course. I know that there are individuals who do, but it just overall there's enough that just seem like they're coming here to bring their tribal. Their ancient tribal battles over here, or to just come and get what they can, as long as they can before we get sick of it. I don't know, but it seems like I think most Canadians, certainly of us over at least 30, immigration used to be at the heart of what we thought it meant was to be Canadian, because for most of our lives, the immigration system was more or less, I think, done smartly. We had a smart immigration policy. And then around 2020, they just threw the doors open without consulting us. There was no elections held on this. It was all across the Western world too. They all got together and decided, all right, we're going to throw our doors open to anyone who comes in. We're going to stifle any dissent for people who oppose this policy, even though we're not going to ask for we're not going to have any consent from the governed. And if you're in the UK, we're going to start putting people in jail. And I just think that inevitably bad policy, it has tainted the whole aspect, the whole idea of immigration. I think most Canadians are proud of the immigration system prior to 2020. And many are, I saw some polling today that was pretty surprising. Something like 55% want deportations and 76% think there's too many immigrants in the country. That is a massive shift from even 5 years ago, when immigration more or less had, I believe, a generally positive view among the Canadian population. But of course, that's what happens when you have bad policy and people notice the negative effects of that policy. They're going to change their opinion on it.
I just want to take this one here. No, Canada fought for freedom, while the U.S. fought for freedom, while Canadians obeyed their foreign king. I never said anything about standing up to our foreign king, so I'm not sure what you're referring to. America has intense weather that we don't deal with. Insane heat of Arizona, Hurricane Alley, the coastal storm of Florida. I've been to all those places, and believe me, bro, I spent a lot of time in Arizona. I spent a lot of time in the Hurricane Valley. I'd much rather live. I would live in Arizona tomorrow, man. Dry heat, bro.
Yeah.
It is not. They don't get 100% humidity like here. Like literally in January, it was 100 Fahrenheit outside. But man, it's dry. As somebody that's had a lot of surgeries, Arizona's great. Phoenix is great. We lived for 4 or 5 months in Yuma, which is literally at a city at the border of Mexico and the US. Literally, I think it took us 5 minutes to get to the border, and you can walk it. You can literally drop your truck, walk a few hundred meters, high five the security guard. That's a Mexican border patrol. He looks in your bag, and you're like, "I'm in Mexico." So I'll take the heat. I'll take hurricanes over 4 months of sub-zero temperature. And this year might be my first winter in 4 years. I am not looking forward to it. So. Yeah. I'll take those heat any day.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those. I'll take the heat too. This is also a decent answer from Bumpy. Canadians are people whose culture has been obscured by the concept of becoming global citizens. What it meant to be a Canadian, a good neighbor, or what it used to, a good neighbor, dependable, tough, diplomatic, compassionate. Yeah, and I think that sort of like move towards an attempt to become global citizen, I think that's more of a symptom than anything. It's because we don't have, it's hard.
Identity.
Yeah, it's hard to have an identity when for the last at least 10 to 20 years, the dominant strain of political and cultural thought has been constantly bombarding us with the message that the only way to think about our shared past is with shame and guilt, and that we, the people alive today, bear collective guilt for the decisions of our ancestors with no context about what other nations in the world were doing at the time. And it's just, when you get told that again and again, it's not a surprise that as a nation, we're having this sort of identity crisis, this existential dread about who we are.
I like this one. Becky's saying we used to stand for peace, freedom, democratic, and tolerance. It's not bad. I would just add toughness. Because we had to be tough. Tough to me is number one. To me, when I think about being Canadian, you can deal with a plus 40 degree in the summer with a minus 40 in the winter. Like we have one of the biggest difference in weather. Like the two extremes are, I think, we're at least top 5 in the world. It's insane because we literally migrate almost 80 degree Celsius. Because at my place, that I had a few years back, it was minus 40 in the winter. We did it for weeks at a time every winter, and with humidity, you'll cross that 40 degree barrier here. So that's insane. 80 degree shift between our coldest and our hottest is insane, but we're used to it. That's just what being Canadian is.
Yeah. No, couldn't agree more. Bully says, high immigration is solely due to declining birth rates, poor fertility, replacement values. When you have a large aging population with fewer taxpayers being born, the system falls apart. Yes and no. We don't have to. We can decide that the downsides of a falling birth rate are better than the downsides of open borders migration. We could make that decision if we want to. But at the end of the day, we talked about this yesterday. Both Nico and I agree that immigration has to be at a part of the solution. But it's not as simple as saying, yes, immigration good or bad. The way you do it is what matters. The type of immigration, your policies. We're not doing it smart. We're not bringing in high-educated, high-skilled immigrants for the most part. We're bringing in immigrants large scale who are going on social services right away that they never paid for. They're getting health care that they never paid for immediately. We've got almost 300,000 asylum seekers, refugees who are waiting, and they'll probably be here for up to 2 years. That's 300,000, and it's costing about $80,000 a year. They get health care immediately, and frankly, most of those are fraudulent. You just know by the numbers. There's not. asylum is meant to be for people in imminent danger, like their house was destroyed in a war and they will be murdered if they go back. But that's not what most of these people are just fleeing. Most of them are from India. Most people are just fleeing poverty. They don't want to be poor. That's not what asylum's for. That's an abuse of the asylum system.
But again, we covered this yesterday, Bully Arena. There's so many ways to deal with birth rates that don't require a high level of immigration, like lowering taxes to people that are for families that are expecting children. Like that's a simple way, man. 43%, that's what we're paid. Imagine cutting that in half. You don't need to give me any money, just tax me less. That would be enough money, because we talked about this yesterday, and the number one problem with the number one reason people give for not having children or not having more children is it's just so freaking expensive. So if we go from that premise, that's the number one problem is money. How do we give more money to Canadians that want to have children? Cut their taxes. I don't want to give them money. Just lower their taxes. However long, 5 years, let's say. I'm just saying, we were throwing numbers out there, but there's definitely solutions. And immigrations, like single dudes, is not the type of immigrants that we want. We want families. We want people with high paying jobs, with education that we actually need, like doctor, nurses, engineers. Those are what we need. We don't need foreign workers to come work at fucking Tim Hortons.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, when you're going to change immigration policy to such an extreme degree, you can't just do it secretly, quietly. You have to talk about it. Look at this chart.
You have to remove the comment so that it shows. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Not your screen, the comment.
Where's the comment?
Yeah,
yep, this is Canadian. This is Canadian migration rates. So this here is look at this change. That is not a little tweak. That is a fundamental and massive policy shift that no one decided on this. Look, if we live in a democracy, if the Liberals ran on this and they won, fair play. That's how it works. I wouldn't have anything to say about it. But they just did this through the back door and hoped we wouldn't notice. This isn't a tweak to immigration. This is massive demographic shift without buy-in from the public. And then look at this. This is a chart for all the Western countries. You can see why did they all go up in 2020? This is Australia. This orange bar is 2020. This here is the UK. The red, that's, right here is, again, 2020. Germany, again, right around 2020, shot way up. Even America, 2020, shot right up. Now, obviously, Trump's put a stop to that, but why? Why did all the Western nations around 2020 simultaneously and without any public buy-in switch to an open borders migration policy that represented not just a tweak, but a massive and fundamental shift in policy without any public debate about it? Why did this happen? And in the UK, they're arresting people for criticizing this, for asking these questions. We've got to start asking the questions. I mean, look, Trevor says, do you think we're living democracy? I mean, yeah, I understand the nuance behind that question, but that's a separate topic. We vote for people. If you think they're rigged, maybe they are. I don't know, but we vote for people, and then they put in policies. That's the system we live in. Okay, but guys, we're gonna put a pin in it. We have to. We're trying to keep it under 2 hours. Some excellent comments today. We had some new faces. Thanks for showing up, guys. Hopefully, we see you on the new hour, which will start this Sunday as we go to 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. And we will continue this conversation over there. Other than that, I'm kind of rushing because I have about 10 seconds to get under the 2 hour list. But folks, have a great weekend. Be safe. We'll see you Sunday night. Appreciate the new voices and become members. Make
sure to follow. You actually have 1 minute left.
Oh, do I?
We started.
Well, then
you have a counter at the top of your head, bro.
Where do I?
Up, top corner. It says live 1 minute, 1 hour, 58 minutes, 21 seconds.
Oh,
so I'll give you, just like your Friday nights, 30 seconds.
That's fine. I can go twice then. But yeah, guys. But I mean, I basically hit all the.
I was just fucking with you, man. Come on, it's Friday.
Yeah, guys, have a great weekend, guys. We are gonna we're gonna see you guys Sunday. Hopefully, it's gonna be the same show, but it'll probably, I think, be a little bit extra energy just because I think there's gonna be a lot more people that we're gonna be exposed to. So hopefully, we see all you guys there because we're gonna have to show the newbies sort of how we do things around here.
Amen, brother.
All right, folks.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Yeah, take care. We'll see you Sunday.
Sundays.